integrity in the whole campaign against these people. His allegation that so many diverse people are actually benefiting from, the insecurity, and so in between a lack of loyalty and sabotage, it's making the whole job more difficult. How much stock do you place on this particular aspect of the challenge, that we have enemies within? Because if we were to be able to wipe it out, that is, wipe out this reign of terrorists and terrorism, then a lot of people will be out of remuneration, out of money, because they are actively benefiting from the continuance of this situation.
I think I would like to thank the professor for his kind words, and as a matter of fact, it may interest him to know that I was in Enugu for almost 9 years, so we can understand ourselves better, me and him. By the way, I think he's just referring to the concept of war economy, an economic system that revolves around complex situation. People benefit from it, so they would like to perpetuate it. Take, for instance, despite the fact that these terrorists are committing heinous crime, to someone, supplying logistic or information to him is just a business. The issue of morality does not even come into play. But of course, there are other things that fuel it. Take, for instance, drugs, weapons, and information, and so on and so forth. So it's quite right. And of course, corruption is one of the bane of the Nigerian society, and it cuts across various sectors. And then the earlier it is addressed, the better. But most importantly, it is not the issue of corruption, but an issue of governance. There is no way you can be dealing with security challenges with a divided house. Therefore, each component of Nigerian society has to be brought on board. In fact, it is no longer a whole society approach, but a whole nation approach, in the sense that each and every one of us has a role to play, regardless of the extraneous variables, religious belief, political affiliation, gender, and so on. Everybody has a role to play. But of course, the government needs to mobilize all of us to have a sense of direction, so that the issue of security is faced squarely by each and every one of us, so that right from the commander-in-chief to the last man in the trench, the armed forces or the security forces are on the same page. Right from the president down to all the leaders, regardless of either political, religious, community leaders, and the man on the street, they are on the same page. They have agreed that, look, we are facing an existential threat, so we should face it squarely. So each and every one of us, just like the national security strategy has envisaged, and but I think the issue is issue of coordination and having the political will to ensure. And of course, most importantly, giving timelines and emphasizing on monitoring and evaluation. So with this kind of, if these things are followed, most of the challenges that we're having can easily be, they might not necessarily be eliminated, but could be minimized. And that will even address the issue of the hunger Mohammed was talking about. Because if there is good governance, there will be good policies that will impact on the people. And the people will have a sense of belonging, they will contribute. Why is it in other climes, people are far more security conscious than in this climate? Simply because they don't think to be active stakeholders in the Nigerian state. And we have to give them more sense of belonging, and the sincerity of purpose to a large extent will help in doing that. And it will even make the security agencies' job much, much easier. We have time-tested conflict resolution mechanism. We shouldn't allow issues to escalate. Why don't you take advantage of this national unity building? There are so many groups, youth group, women group, the traditional, the religious leaders, each one of them has a role to play. Harmonize them. And of course, those that are elected should be more accountable, and you will see that things are getting better.
Okay. Abdul Samad in Abuja, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir. How you go, sir?
Very well, thank you. Please go ahead.
So please, honestly, may God be with you, sir. Good morning, sir.
Amen.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Please, I have a problem, sir. Hello, sir.
Go ahead, Abdul Samad.
Abdul Samad, I think we are hearing you.
We're hearing
him
you.
also.
There was a
Unfortunately, we lost him,
echo.
right?
Yes, unfortunately. Now, you know, of course, the world has reacted to this. It's a global village. Everybody heard about this virtually as soon as it happened. And there have been, you know, thoughts from around the world. For instance, we hear that Amnesty International has bemoaned the situation. Indeed, they are saying that the needful has to be done so that the gains that we have made as a country, that is our, you know, defense forces have made for us as a country, are not rolled back against Boko Haram. Indeed, that thought is out there now that, well, with Boko Haram coming back in this way, I don't know that they have actually verbally claimed it formally, but everybody is highly suspicious of the fact that it just could be Boko Haram. Do you feel also, General, that along with those who are making that commentary, gains against them are being pushed back now, rolled back on, and that we might not be in as good a place as we were before? Or might that be a hasty kind of conclusion?
I think it might be a hasty conclusion in the sense that when you look 15 years ago where we were, in fact 10 years ago, where we were and where we are now, there is, you know, noticeable difference. You understand? You remember way back, here in the Federal Capital Territory, all the symbol of security and democracy were desecrated. The UN building, the police headquarters, Mogadishu cantonment. Then, of course, Banex Plaza, the bus terminal. And moving from point A to B, the number of checkpoints. In fact, you are not even so sure when you go out to work whether you come back alive. Remember Madala and all the rest of them.
It was very bad.
These guys have been pushed back to northeast to, in fact, Borno State to Sambisa, and, you know, Lake Chad. So, and I know countries like Colombia, they spent 58 years fighting insurgency. But here we are. We made substantial progress against all odds. Remember, the Lihi law was used against us when we desperately needed the weapons to fight these criminal elements. They were denied us. So against all odds, we made substantial progress. So I think we look at this, even though it is so painful, so horrible, but it should be looked at as an isolated incident that we need to put our acts together. People should not panic. They should rather cooperate and support to ensure that it did not happen. We have had several instances of higher, you know, casualties than this. So I know it is worrisome and it's disturbing, and that is why our hearts are with the good people of Gwoza, and it is heartwarming that Amnesty of all organizations understand the fact that we have made substantial progress when they are even among the antagonists, you know, when the military were fighting the insurgents at the very beginning. So it is heartwarming. So I think we need to rally around to support them, to ensure that the right thing is done, more security consciousness. Those that aided and abated these dastardly crimes are fished and punished. And of course, from there, we take it on. It is not just Gwoza. It is not Polka or any other place. Everywhere, people should be mobilized to be more security conscious. Like I said, one of the suicide bombers was not indigenous to the community because he was even asking for direction. Under normal circumstances, the person she was asking ought to have been more security conscious and understand that she looked odd and she was looking restless and alert the security forces. So these are some of the issues, and so many things like that. So I think
let me say, General, I beg your pardon, General.
People not to panic.
Yes, okay, I beg your pardon.